Understanding is direct checks are part of the stimulus package that the Senate is currently negotiating. We're hearing that this package could top $2 trillion. You have made clear, and I'm quoting from one of your tweets, no industry, not airlines, not hotels, not cruise ships, should be bailed out. They can stay in business by borrowing at rock bottom rates, using their assets as collateral. Taxpayer money should be used to bail out people, not corporations. So let me run our viewers through some of the provisions being negotiated right now up on Capitol Hill. Direct payments, up to $1,200 for Americans, for those making under $75,000, and for couples who make less than $150,000. Up to $50 billion in loans for the airline industry. Up to $150 billion for other distressed industries. Defer employer-side payroll taxes. Nearly $300 billion for loans to companies with less than 500 employees. So, Mr. Secretary, is this the way to go?
No, there's too much money for big businesses and not enough money for individuals. The big businesses, big corporations, they do not need to be bailed out. In fact, they can get very, very low interest loans. They've got collateral. If you look at the airline industry, they have the most solid collateral in existence. That it's called airplanes. Those airplanes are not tremendously valuable if they're not flying, but they will be flying again. And at rock bottom interest rates right now, those industries can continue. The real problem is people, individuals. That $1,200 per individual, a little bit over $1,200 per family, that is not going to be enough. The typical American worker goes through about $1,000 a week at least, and that's not even in the high cost areas where you have high rents and high mortgages on the coastal areas. No, people are going to need much more than $1,200 to survive through the next 2 or 3 months. In terms of the national interest, we have a national interest in people being home. And to fulfill that national interest, we've got to make sure that people who are home have enough income to pay their bills, and particularly the essentials. This is, again, it's very, very different from what we saw in the 1930s or what we even saw starting in 2008 in terms of the Great Recession. This is a national emergency brought on by a pandemic. Government has got to step up to the plate. We don't need to bail out the big businesses. They're fine. We need to make sure individuals and families are safe.